I'm Holly, and today it's time for another round of the A Novel TBR game. If you're new to my channel, this is my TBR game. This is how I figure out the books that I'm going to be reading each month, and last month was the first time that I used this new board. I will leave a link to that in the description if you don't know all the rules, but it's pretty self-explanatory. There's all different colours. I roll a die, I land on a colour, that links to a certain genre, and then I pick a prompt from a mug of prompts and match a book with that prompt and that genre. And yes, so let's first of all go through January's rolls. So this was my TBR for January, as well as Rise of the Jumbies by Tracy Baptiste. So that was a horror that was under 300 pages. Then we had The Miseducation of Cameron Post, which was a contemporary over 500 pages. Turned out it wasn't a contemporary, it's a historical fiction, but I'm still counting it because it is somewhat modern, like it's like I think it's late 80s, early 90s, that kind of time. Then we had Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb, which was a fantasy with green on the cover. Lovely War by Julie Berry, which was a historical fiction that my cat picked. And finally we had Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, which was a classic that I flipped a coin to pick. And I read most. I haven't read The Lovely War, and I'm about halfway through Ship of Destiny. There's still a few days until the end of the month, so I'm sure I can finish that one in time, but that does mean that I didn't get to one of my rolls. And my first book for February is going to be from my TBR jar. So as kind of a punishment if I don't complete my TBR, I pick a book from this jar of all the books on my own TBR, so like a random pick, and I will just show you that now. So as you saw, my TBR jar pick for February was The Vagabond Clown by Edward Marston. This is an Elizabethan mystery, which means that it's like a murder mystery set in Elizabethan times. And what I didn't know before I put this on my TBR is that this is the 13th book in the Bracewell Mysteries series. Now, I'm kind of hoping that this is a series where you can just read them in any order, that each of them stands alone. I could be wrong, so I might start this and be utterly confused, but then I'll get rid of it because there is no way that I am going to get all of the books in this series. I do have another one, I think that one's like number 5. And there's just no way I'm buying all of the like 12 or the 11 other books in this series. That's just not going to happen. So I am hoping that I will be able to understand this, but we shall see. It's not very long, which is great. And all it says on the back is that during a performance of their new play, the Westfields men are ambushed by hired thugs and a melee in shoes. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm not sure. And then someone dies. The clown. No, the clown has a broken leg, so the clown... I don't understand. Clowns. Yeah. I don't know too much about this one. It intrigues me. I think this was actually one that I got in a mystery book from Book Loving Dragons, like a box. And yeah, so I don't know. I might enjoy it, I might not. I do love a bit of historical fiction. I'm not a huge fan of thrillers, but I'm hoping that because it's kind of a different thriller, it's set in this different time, that it might be a bit more interesting to me. So that is the first book on my February TBR. And without further ado, I think we should just get straight into roll number 1. It's again time for a new month's TBR. Obviously, I start with rolling. So let me roll this dice. Number 3, very intriguing. We had a 1 last time. So there we go, we have our start position. And roll number 1. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A green, a sci-fi. And the prompt... Oh, a second chance. So my first roll was a sci-fi that was a second chance, And when I put this prompt in my mug, I think this is a more recent prompt, I was kind of thinking maybe a book that like I DNF'd, like not really DNF'd, but maybe put down, didn't pick up again, or an author or something that maybe I didn't like in the past. So it was a little bit difficult, but the book that I have gone with is Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. So I read Scythe last year and I gave it about 3 stars. I didn't love it and I was quite disappointed in it because everyone seems to love that series, or this series. And this is the second book, so if you don't know, this is set in this dystopian, utopian kind of world where people don't naturally die. So if you do accidentally die, they can bring you back. There's no disease, there's no injury or anything like that. So because of this, there are these people called scythes whose job it is to control the population, make sure that it doesn't get too big. So they're killing people. And in the first book, you're following 2 apprentice scythes, and there's a lot of political stuff in this world, like competing views about how you should be a scythe, how you should choose the people that you kill, how you kill those people. And I have heard that this one is better than the first one, which I'm hoping it is, considering the first one I only gave 3 stars. But I'm giving this series a second chance. If I don't love this one, I don't think I'm going to get to the toll because the toll is quite big. But this one, I'm guessing it's just continuing the story of the first one. I can't really tell you much more than that. I am intrigued, but I don't know. So I'm giving this series a second chance, but this could also be its last chance. Roll number 2. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A rainbow square, exciting. And the prompt: a randomly generated number on my bookshelves. For roll at number 2, I landed on a rainbow square, and my rainbow squares are linked to non-genre specific prompts. So as you saw, my prompt was a randomly generated number on my bookshelves. So I did a random number generator, I'll probably put it on the screen, and I got number 44, and the 44th book on my shelves was The Gilda Stories by Joelle Gomez. I'm really excited that this one got picked because this is one of the books that I put on my 21 books I want to read in 2021 list, so I'm very excited. And all I really know about this is that it's about vampires. I think it's following this woman who was a slave and she escapes slavery, becomes a vampire, there's lesbians and everything that I could ever want in a vampire book. And it's not too long. The writing it's quite close together, so I feel like the length might be a bit deceptive. It might be a bit longer than it appears, but I cannot wait for this one. I love vampires. If you're new to my channel, like, vampires are like my thing. I love them. And it says that it was an instant lesbian classic, and it talks a lot about blackness, so it's offering a lot more than just the like typical, you know, vampire romance kind of thing. And yeah, I think that I could really love this one, and I'm very excited that I could get this onto this month's TBR. Roll number 3. A 3. So we can go up here or we can go down here. 1, 2, 3, a non-fiction or poetry. I do need a non-fiction prompt this month. Or 1, 2, 3, a reading goal. I think I'm going to go for the reading goal because we haven't done that one yet. So reading goal. For roll at number 3, I landed on one of my new squares for this year, which was the reading goal prompt. And that basically means that I can pick a book that will help me achieve one of my reading goals. If you haven't seen my 2021 reading goals video, I will leave that in the description. But one of my goals for 2021 was to read more non-fiction, so I thought it might be good to get a non-fiction into this month's TBR. And I have picked quite a short one because I do have quite a big TBR this month, which we will go into a bit later. And I picked this book called Citizen by Claudia Rankin. Now, I say book, but I think this might be more like an extended poem or an essay or something like that. I think it's like an American lyric or something. That's like the tagline. And I heard about this one. Someone said that it was fantastic. I think it was Jessie at Bow Ties and Books. And I thought it sounded like an interesting read. It's available on Scribd, so I believe that the author is maybe narrating it, and it's looking at what it means to be a black person in America and citizenship and all that kind of thing, like what qualifies you to be a citizen or that kind of thing. I don't really know too much, but it's only about an hour, the audiobook, so I'm definitely excited to give that one a go. Roll number 4. A 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is a fantasy. And the prompt is an author surname A to M. Roll number 4 was a fantasy, and the prompt was author surname A to M, so an author whose surname begins with the letters between, you know, A, B, C, D up to M. And the book that I have picked, I am so excited to get to, and that is Alatsaway by Darcy Little Badger. Now, this one I don't know too much, but Kayla from Books and Lala absolutely adored this book, and I trust her opinions. So what I think it is a young adult paranormal set in this world where there are ghosts and other, you know, supernatural creatures. Vampires, I've heard, might feature in this one. And our main character, I think it's like her brother or her cousin has been killed or has died. She thinks there's something suspicious, and the main plot is that she's trying to like solve the case, figure out who killed her family member. And also there's like a ghost dog. I don't know, it sounds like my perfect mix of like maybe real world, like hard-hitting elements, because I do love something that makes me think, that makes me feel things, as well as obviously the fantastical elements that I absolutely adore. The cover for this is also stunning, and I think it's also illustrated inside. So again, I'm very, very excited to get to this one. I think this was also one that was on my 21 books list that I wanted to get to this year, so I'm doing pretty well on that reading goal. And yeah, I'm very, very excited to get to this one, and I hope that I adore it. And then I know that we didn't have any doubles, but I really wanted like 5-ish rolls or 6 rolls this month because I have a lot of books I want to get to. So I'm just gonna do another roll for fun. And that is, if this is a double, I will do like an extra roll. So hopefully it's not a double. A 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is a classic. Interesting. And the prompt is going to be this one. An anticipated read. And then I don't really know what I was doing, but I randomly decided to do another roll. I film my rolls before I do the sit down bit, so I was just like, oh, I'm gonna do another one. I regret that now, but the book that I got, the prompt or whatever, is intriguing to me because it was a classic that was an anticipated read, and that means that I can finally get to The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I got this at Christmas. I love this edition. I don't think it like fully, like on camera, I don't think it fully captures how absolutely stunning this edition is. This is the Chiltern edition. And I just have heard so many fantastic things about this book. I feel like it's a lot of people's favourite classics or one of their favourites. But all I really know about this is that it follows this man who is obsessed with beauty and like the pleasures in life. So he makes this deal where he has this portrait of himself, and all the age and ugliness of his character goes onto that portrait rather than him. So he remains this like youthful, beautiful person. And it just sounds like it's going to be really dark. So that's my kind of thing. I love classics that are really, they just go in, like Wuthering Heights. That one was incredibly dark, and I'm hoping that this has that same kind of atmosphere. And yeah, I cannot wait for this one. I don't think it's too long, which is great for a classic because I am trying to read Les Mis at the same time. That is also on my TBR, like the next 200 pages. But I haven't even read the first 200 pages, so it's like 400 pages. We're not going to talk about it. And yeah, so it's nice to get a shorter classic onto my TBR. But I don't know why I decided to do an extra roll, because there are other books that I want to get to this month. So first of all, in February it is the Polarthon, which is a week-long readathon hosted by Jade at JD Ray Reads. And it's all about reading polar fantasy, which are fantasies that are set in northern, wintry, cold settings, or they have some kind of icy magic. Think like Frozen or the Northern Lights, something like that. And you don't have to read like all polar fantasy. You can tailor the prompts to what you want as long as you read one polar fantasy. And this year it's very exciting. There are 4 teams, so everyone got to pick a team, and then each of the teams has specific prompts. So I'm going to be on the polar bear team. It just worked well with my TBR, and I have decided to double up a bit with this readathon because I had a lot of books on my TBR and it was stressing me out. So the first polar bear prompt is a white cover, and for this I'm going to be reading Alatsaway by Darcy Littlebadger. It fit perfectly, and I don't know if it's going to be like polary at all, but it has a lovely white cover. So that is the first book that I'm going to be reading for Polarthon. And then secondly, for the cozy vibes prompt and the journey prompt, I'm going to be reading The House with Chicken Legs by Sophie Anderson. This is a middle grade following this girl whose grandmother, I believe, is, what's the name? Like, they have a house with chicken legs and it runs around, and she doesn't really want to keep moving around, the girl. I don't really know, but a lot of people have said fantastic things about this book, about this author, and I think it is polar fantasy. I feel like it might be like Russian inspired or some kind of like Slavic folklore inspired thing. And it's short, it's a middle grade. I think that one could be perfect. And then finally, to fit the cold word prompt and the polar fantasy prompt, I'm going to be reading The Winter Spirits by E.C. Hibbs. This was a book that I got in one of my Book Loving Dragons books, and I thought that it'd be perfect for Polarthon, so I saved it for Polarthon. And I believe that this follows like the Northern Lights, who accidentally like get dragged out the sky and become this personified woman. I don't know. And then there's like a wizard, a mage, and they go on a journey. It sounds like it's very polar fantasy. Obviously it has winter in the title to fit the cold word prompt, and I'm hoping that I also really end up enjoying this one. And then also, as I mentioned earlier, we have Les Mis. I'm trying to read this over the next 6 months. It's not going very well. I'm still only on page 76. I love that, but hopefully I can get a little bit further in that in February. And then, of course, there's even more books that I want to get to. I did forget to put The Mask Falling on my TBR. This is book 4 in the bonus season series. I pre-ordered this. I'm really excited to get to it, but it just didn't fit into my roles. So I really want to get to this, but it's quite chunky. I don't know if it's going to happen. And then I also joined NetGalley in January. You'll learn more about that in my January wrap up. And I have got a few books on that, so like a few advanced copies, which I won't really go too much into because you'll obviously find out over the next few months. But I've got 3 books on there as well. They don't necessarily have to be read in February. I think the release dates are maybe like April, May, June, so I could leave them another month or 2. But yeah, a lot of books on my TBR. So this is my core TBR, as well as Alatsaway by Darcy Littlebadger and Citizen by Claudia Rankin. And I'm hoping, as long as I can get these done, even if I like, obviously this one's like a Polarthon book, so if I don't get to the Polarthon books, it's entirely fine. So yeah, we also have The House with Chicken Legs. We also have Les Mis. Just a lot of books. As long as I can get to my A Novel TBR game TBR, I'll be happy. And yeah, wish me luck, because February is only 4 weeks long and I'm gonna have to read a lot of books, a lot of pages every day. But that's it for February's TBR. What books are you going to be reading in February? Are you taking part in Polarthon? And that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and to everyone out there, stay curious. Bye!